Hi everybody, Chris here from Truly Holistic. And this video is going to be a demonstration, but also talking about the energy wands that I create here at Truly Holistic. And how I use them as a practitioner, but also how you can personally use them as well in a number of ways. Okay, so first I'm going to show you the range of wands that we have, and it's kind of changed over a period of time. The current ones we currently have is this wand here, okay, which is made of brass and copper, and within this wand there is 3 energetics. We actually make it with a brass tube and then a brass rod, so that rod fits into the tube, and we also have a little acuvat coil on the wand as well, which has got its own energetic as well. So for anybody that follows me, the 3 cubit measures that we use a lot in a lot of the products is the activation, the gateway, and the ascension, which are cubit measures. And what you need to keep it simple, those cubit measurements are anchors into the physical reality that anchor in etheric energies that come from outside of this reality, that facilitate a spectrum or spectrums of frequency. So not just bringing through a very specific bandwidth of frequency, it's bringing through, for example, the activation cube, it brings through the full spectrum of frequencies that are bound to this reality, this dimension, this universe. And as we go into either the gateway cube and even further into the ascension cube, we're bringing through not just one spectrum of frequencies, but a bunch of them, because at your core, you're multidimensional. And these tools are about bringing more of you through. Okay, so bringing more of a multi-dimensional, multi-reality, multi-universal aspect of you. So these are very expansive. Okay, when we look at the tensor technology community, there's no one else that brings through the expansion of what we bring through. And the cool thing about it is it's your expansion. It's you as a consciousness, as a soul. So that is not something external to you. That is you, just a higher evolved aspect of you. So these tools not only facilitate that, but also they can be deemed as smart devices, because not only we're bringing through this energy, but we're bringing through a guidance, a directional wisdom that comes from your higher aspect of your consciousness, who will decide what frequencies you need at any particular time. Smart device, right? Real, true, smart technology. Not AI, but your own authentic consciousness. Okay? Because if we really dialed in and connected everyone into the expansion as an infinite consciousness, humanity wouldn't have the need for artificial intelligence. We already have it. The reason why artificial intelligence is being facilitated is because we've been conditioned to think that we can't do it, right? So that has 3 energetics in, okay? And what we do is then, when you hold this wand, you are actively connecting into your expansion just by holding it, okay? And while you're holding it, it's part of your auric field, even before directing or using intention with it. Okay, so it's already creating an energetic bond that's connecting you intuitively to your higher aspects of yourself to provide an authentic answer or guidance or direction. But also, when you about to work on yourself, you're bringing more of that energy in to heal that area. Or if you're, say, a practitioner, or you're just somebody that wants to work on your family, and then you wand another person, you're not sending your own energy in to heal that person. You're enabling this to be the anchor to bring more of that person's energy into that area, because that's the reason why they have an illness or sickness or a problem to begin with. Okay? So, same with if you're holding this and then you passed it on to another person, it would connect that person into their high aspects of self. Okay, so it's pretty cool. It's a pretty unique device. Like a lot of the tools that we provide, we're really frontiers in this movement. So that's one of the ones that we have that has those 3 measurements in it. So we essentially use it to transmute an expression. Like, for example, a lot of the times I use this wand in my intuitively aligned sessions, which is working on the biomechanics of the body, where we work on alignment of the body, correcting posture. And when we're doing that, we quite often go to working on the muscles, because the muscles have been tight and tense because it's tried to prevent or limit collateral damage because of a disc being out of alignment, for example. So now when we correct that, we want to change the expression, the communication of those muscles from a tense state to a relaxed state, and we go and wand the muscles to transmute that. And obviously we'd use, if it's a distance healing session, then we'd use a anatomy or pathology book like this one, where we'd just use that chart like that, and we go ahead about wanding the areas. And I just allow, whenever I'm working, I've got a limp wrist, limp arm, because I allow my consciousness, my soul, create the state, the space, which you'd call a meditative space, to enable it to take over, and it just directs where I need to go, and we just wand the area. Now, a lot of times when we wand the area, it goes in a counterclockwise spin, and that's not me as the human up here telling it to do, that's just my soul consciousness doing that. It's creating a vortex. A vortex is a geometry of flow, so we're enabling more flow of energy into that area. Okay, but again, you might want to just do it like that and not rotate it. It's whatever you feel like you are intuitively guided to do. Okay, now the other wand is a very new wand, a new development, and this is it here. Okay, beautiful wand, and we don't really specifically have a name for it at this point. We call this one the Ascension Wand. We're just calling it a new wand at this particular time. Now this wand has the energetics of celestial existence in it. So it's an energy that goes even beyond you as a source of energy. For example, the Ascension cubit energetic is anchored at that source level of you as a source. And the way that we kind of like to symbolize the source of your energy, a bit like the roots of a tree, right? That's going to facilitate the energy into the trunk of the tree, into the branches of the tree, into the foliage of the tree, where you are a being and part of a reality as an expression of that energy. The two energetics or cubit measures that we anchor into this, that is the length of the brass tube, but also this coil that goes all the way from one end to the other, that's of copper wire, are two different cubit measurements that exist within celestial existence. Now, celestial existence is the soil that feeds the source of your energy. Okay? And my guides always say celestial existence can be known as an Eden. And Eden means a paradise. And why we see that as a paradise is because that depth of energy that exists within you, okay, can now come up to the surface, because this is anchoring it here, right? This is an anchor to point your attention to something, right? Both wands are. And that enables more of your heart desires to come true, to formulate, to materialize, right? And if we're seeing a reality that's more in alignment with what we imagined it to be, what our heart desired, well, we can consider that a paradise, can't we? Okay, and when we look at celestial existence, we look at the element fire, right? Where the activation, the three cubits that we have in this wand, the activation is considered the earth element, because that's the closest aspect to us, our connection with the soul as this human experience here on earth. The gateway cubit, which we've anchored into the coil there, that is air, the element air, right? When we get into a meditative state and we focus on the breath, it's not about changing the breath. It's not about really focusing on the breath. It's the importance about bringing your awareness back to self and removing your attention away from distraction. That connects you to a higher aspect of yourself, so that's air. And then Ascension cubit is water. Okay, and then fire, which is celestial existence, is more bound to these energetics. Now, obviously, this is more subtle, right? These energetics in this one, where we use it to transmute, where this one is about changing physical matter. Yeah, this is pretty big news. So where we'd use this is perhaps if we're suffering with calcification, like we've got rheumatoid arthritis or just osteoarthritis, or we've got scar tissue build-up, adhesion build-up because of so many surgeries, let's say, or we've got an autoimmune condition where our body's attacking itself and is creating a whole lot of scar tissue and adhesions, calcification where our joints become cemented essentially. Now this is material that is not in alignment with our heart's desires, is it? Right? And a lot of it's protein tissue that's formulated that when our body is replicating or rejuvenating at a cellular level, right? It's because our cells are rejuvenating all the time and tissue is renewing itself all the time. You'll notice that areas that you have scars and stuff's not, because it's not really in alignment with your original tissue matrix buildup. So this is where this tool would come into play, where you'd want an area where you have calcification, adhesion, scar tissue problems, tissue that is not necessarily rejuvenating or regenerative, it's degenerative. And we'd wand on those areas. Okay? So this is about changing matter, this is more about transmuting it, the expression of that matter. So subtle differences with those. So, and they have different energetics. So therefore they're going to have a different influence or a different role, let's say. So obviously I use, as a quantum healer, majority of my clients is distance. Okay, so they're not here locally, they're all around the world. And obviously I use aids, for example, an anatomy pathology book, to use as a guide to the direction of where we're going to send the energy. And as I say, this is not me sending energy from New Zealand to, let's say, the United States. We are doing all this work in a quantum realm, right? So that bypasses this reality. So the limitations of distance and time, right? That's why I can work on anybody all around the world, and it will work just as well as you sitting right next to me in my treatment room. So when we're using those tools, it is just a place of attention to enable more of that person's energy to go into that area. And obviously, depending on the energetics that are in the wand, depends really at the level or the layer that we are doing that from. Okay. So I'm just going to show you a few examples of other ways you can use it, right? Is this wand here, or the miniature version of this wand, because I also have a version of this wand that brings through the same energy, it's just half the size, is part of a system that I created, which was intuitively alignment system, which is working on biomechanics, working on aligning vertebrae, discs, correcting posture, removing scar tissue, adhesion, calcification, removing inflammation, which inflammation is a marker of the body. The body will produce inflammation as really providing an awareness that the state you're providing at that time, or what you're doing at that moment, is not in alignment with allowing your body to do what it knows best, to rejuvenate, regenerate, and heal. So you got to realize that your body the role of the body is to provide an awareness to you that something's not right, like the way that you're going about your life, which is then providing a state, and your body will only be as good as the state you provide it. So the body is always your ally. You must realize that. Even if you have an autoimmune condition, you think, my body is kind of giving up on myself. Well, it isn't. In an autoimmune condition, we must question the intelligence that is guiding the processes in the body, because we must realize the body is like the analogy of a car, and that car is on a road, which is your path, your journey, your future ahead, but it needs a driver behind that steering wheel, and that is an intelligence. When we are living our life, our heart leading our experience, feeling our way instead of thinking away, then our soul, our consciousness, is guiding our direction, including the processes that happen in the body. For example, your immune system. So therefore, it will work with you, not against you, like an autoimmune condition. But we've been very conditioned as the human to experience our reality from up here and not here, which means it closes off our authenticity, our higher evolved intelligence, our innate intelligence, and we allow other intelligence like the AI to come in to direct and guide the process of the body, which, what are they going to do? They're going to, guide it to sabotage itself, right? To cause more suffering, cause more fear. So that's what's going on with your autoimmune condition. It's not necessarily about the body, it's about the intelligence that we're allowing. You might not be aware of it, but you are allowing in by guiding, allowing the mind to guide your process through a process of thought. Okay? So what you can do is you can get your coffee, you can get a bottle of water, and you can get your wand, right? And you can wand it. And what that's doing is restructuring the water, restructuring the coffee, because these energetics connect anything that is at the core of its self-consciousness to its higher aspects of its consciousness to make it more complete and whole. It's oneness. Now, everything that we physically see as part of our reality is here because its origin is bound to consciousness. So what we apply to ourselves when we work on our body or work on an area of our body, or a client, if you're a practitioner, applies to everything that else is physical. For coffee, tea, water, food, you could wand your food. And when you're using this tool, because the energetics are about connecting more of that thing to its higher aspect of itself, then you are restructuring that water, restructuring that food, right? So that anything that is not so good for you in that food, let's say GMOs, you're transmuting, you're connecting into its higher aspects of its consciousness, so it lets go of that GMO aspect of itself. So no longer it will be harmful to you. It will be in alignment with your body instead of against it. Okay? So it's pretty amazing on what you can do there, right? And this is with a lot of the tools that we make here at Truly Holistic, but obviously, you know, with using a wand, we're enabling a very focused place of attention that we're working on. Okay? Now I'm going to show you a prototype that I'm working on that is, you know, it's great to have a wand, but, you know, these are all training wheels. Okay? The tools are training wheels to get to the realization that all this, the qubit measures are anchoring through more of you. So once you create a state where you're fully in trust of this situation, of this knowing of how powerful you are, not the whole human story of how limited or weak you are or insignificant you are, but how powerful you are, how pivotal you are in your own healing journey, but also others around you, is you eventually won't need the training wheels to do it. Now, a tool that we're kind of been designing that is a prototype at this point is a little bit more in transitioning away from a tool like a wand and more using your own hand, for example. And we know that there are Reiki practitioners and people that use their hands as a place of attention in regards to working on an energy field of a person, right? Now, this product here is a product that we've been working on, which is, again, just a copper plate, and we've just got a copper ring here. And we put Velcro on here because what we do here is a slight variation to tensor technology where we use a qubit length to anchor in certain frequencies. We've been doing that with crystal powders, and we make these, what they're called light stones or light technology. And I've got 4 of them there. And you know, we've got earth, right, with the malachite crystal powder where we anchor in the activation qubit. We've got this one where we anchor in, this is air, we anchor in the gateway qubit measurement. And this is blue, which we anchor in the ascension qubit measures, right, which is the element of water. And then we've got this one here, which is the black shungite, where we anchor in the fire element, right, the celestial existence element. So what we can do with those is, if you want all 4 of those levels of your existence, we can just Velcro those 4. And remember, they're anchoring the etheric energetics of those. So you've got it like that. And you put that on your hand like so, like that. And you can wand an area, right? Wand someone's body, like you're putting it through the hands. But this is just anchoring more of that etheric, infinite aspect of your consciousness. You know, just amplifying that power, which is channeled through your heart, you know, through the quantum pathway. That your heart is a veil between worlds, essentially, and you're bringing it here. You're levitating all that expansion of you up to the surface, and this becomes an anchor of that. So when you're wandering or using your hand into someone's energy field or wanding that area without the physical wand, this is another way of doing it. And this is a prototype that we're working on currently. That's not available at this point in time, but that's something we're working on. That just does it in a slightly different way. Again, it's up to you. If you're somebody that is more hands-on but would like to really amplify that, well, I think that's a really wonderful product that will be coming your way very soon. But if you're somebody that's more into the wand approach or the tool approach, then these wands are a great way of doing it. So now I'm going to show you a little bit of some testimonials of where I've used the wand. Obviously, as I say, I use the wand regularly in intuitively alignment sessions in regards to transmuting tense muscle into a relaxed state. Also working on an area, if I've got somebody local, also where we work on trying to alleviate, remove calcification, scar tissue, and those sorts of things. We've also recently used this particular tool on tracing where cancer formed. I've got a local person who was diagnosed with a terminal cancer with a tumor right there between the eye and the nose, and by using the wand, we were able to trace it all the way back, originated from the auditory system, came through the Eustachian tube into the sinuses and into the nasal cavity, and we were able to wand that whole tracing of the origin of where that came from to where the tumor was. And that became part of that session that we regularly do within a session, and that was part of the process and what enabled this. And I'm going to show you a photo. So this is a lady here. As you can see, she had this tumor which created this wound, and by wanding that area, the body was able to then take out, push all the toxicity and the gunk of the area to create a wound and create an abscess on the outside, to essentially get all that toxicity that was enabling an environment for that cancer and that tumor to be there, to get it out of the body. So that's the healing ability of the body itself. But what we're doing with these tools is facilitating the body to do what it already knows how to do. Okay, so what that enabled was that grew, and then about 10 days later, because we also wanded that, it just dried up and fell off to the point where now that's where she is now today. No tumor inside, and all that toxicity and that material came out, and then the body, through facilitating and working with it, enabled that wound to heal all by itself. Pretty amazing stuff. That's a miracle. I had this lady here today, and she said what we're achieving. We've gone from being a terminal cancer diagnosis to no longer having cancer, having a future with her family. This is a miracle. This is what she said. It's a miracle. Okay. Now another example I'm going to show you was with a family member, and she had a really suspect kind of dry, scaly thing happening on her skin. And it was very red and very inflamed, and she was really, really worried about it. So I'm going to show you the photo. Now this is the first photo here, and you can see it here. I've circled it there. And we started wanding with, didn't have this wand at that point. We were just wandering with this wand. And we wand this area. I only did it once or twice. And we wandered this area, and then within a few days, all of a sudden, everything underneath it became less red, and it came up to the surface, and it became very dry on the outside. And then a few days later, it just fell away, and look at the area is perfectly normal, and it healed back to normal. Okay, and we've done this numerous times using this wanding approach. Okay, so these are wonderful tools. This one and this one, slightly different purposes. This one's more regenerative. This one's more about transmuting the expression to assist the body in a process. So very expansive tools, and obviously that prototype that we're currently building. But these are wonderful tools that we currently have on my website at trulyholistic.net. Go to the products page as trulyholistic.net /products/ and you'll see those wands there. amongst a number of other brilliant tools that can be used for all sorts of reasons around the house, on personal use, and for a number of ways. So go and check that out. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe to the channel to see further content like this. Please, everyone that watches this and really enjoys this video, please like the video. This really helps to get this video seen by more people, to bring this awareness to more people, to empower and enlighten more people, because this is a huge goal of mine in regards to Truly Holistic. Till next time, catch you later.